So, how would you like to 240x your productivity? And no, I'm not talking about some new AI tool or the latest productivity app. We're going to have to go way back, like to the 18th century.
Yeah, you heard that right. A 240-fold increase in output per person. This isn't some modern tech miracle. The blueprint for this absolutely insane productivity gain was actually laid out all the way back in 1776.
So here's what you need to know. In 1776, Adam Smith detailed a way to boost a worker's output by a staggering 24,000%, and he did it with a simple reorganization of work, not a single piece of new technology. Welcome to the MoniLytics channel, where money meets research. Okay, let's dive into this, because believe it or not, the secret to all this is hiding inside a simple 18th century pin factory. All right, so this incredible claim, this 240 puzzle, it all boils down to a foundational economic concept, the division of labor. To explain it, Adam Smith used this perfect, now famous case study. It's about a product that seems, super simple on the surface, but the lessons from it, they're still used in everything today, from building cars to writing software.
So let's step inside this little workshop. A pin factory. I mean, making a pin, how hard can that be, right? Well, just stop and think for a second about what it would actually take for one person to make a single pin, from start to finish. Turns out it's way more involved than you'd think.
In fact, Smith broke it down into about 18 different steps. You got to draw out the wire, then straighten it, then cut it, then point it, then grind the top down just so you can put the head on. And listen, that's only the first few steps. Imagine one person trying to do all 18 of those things, one after the other. It's going to be incredibly slow and super inefficient.
And this, right here, is where the whole idea clicks into place. The division of labor. It's really just a fancy term for breaking a big, complicated job into a bunch of smaller, bite-sized tasks. And Smith said this one simple change causes a productivity explosion for 3 very specific reasons.
Okay, driver number 1, perfecting your skill. Think about it. When a worker is only responsible for one of those 18 steps, they just do that one thing all day, every day. They stop being a general pin maker and they become an absolute expert at, say, straightening the wire, or a master at pointing the pin. And all that focused repetition leads to what Smith called an increase in skill, dexterity, and judgment. Basically, workers get way faster, they make fewer mistakes, they waste less material, and they get a feel for their one job. It's kind of like a pro musician practicing scales over and over. That singular focus is what leads to mastery.
All right, on to the second driver, saving time. This is all about eliminating the hidden cost of switching between jobs. Smith noticed that a ton of time just disappears when a worker has to constantly switch from one kind of task to another.
So let's just compare the two. The unspecialized worker, right? He's constantly putting down one tool, picking up another, maybe walking across the room to a different station, and then he has to mentally reset for the new task. We all know this feeling, right? We call it context switching today, and it just kills your focus and your time. But the specialized worker? They're in one spot, with one tool, laser-focused on one task. The whole workflow is just seamless. 0 time is wasted.
Now for the third driver, and this one might just be the most powerful of all, fueling innovation. Smith's argument was that when you have people focusing all their brain power on one simple task, they are way more likely to figure out better, faster, smarter ways to do it. Maybe even invent a little machine to help them out. It's basically bottom-up improvement, what we'd call continuous improvement in business today.
And he tells this great little story about the early steam engines. There was this kid whose only job, his entire job, was to open and close a valve. And naturally, he got bored. He wanted to go play with his friends. So what does he do? He figures out how to tie a string from the valve's handle to another moving part of the engine, completely automating his own job. And just like that, boom, a huge improvement wasn't invented by some genius engineer, but by a regular worker who was just trying to save himself some labor.
Okay, so let's put all this together and look at the numbers. An unspecialized worker, doing all 18 tasks all by himself, Smith figured if he was really, really working hard, he could maybe make about 20 pins in a full day.
But in this little factory Smith was watching, there were 10 workers, and each one was specialized in just 1 or 2 steps. And together they were churning out about 48,000 pins a day. The difference is it's staggering.
You do the math on that. That averages out to 4,800 pins per worker. That is a 240-fold increase, a 24,000% increase in productivity for each person.
I mean, it's just a perfect illustration of the explosive power of dividing up the labor.
And here's the real kicker. This whole thing wasn't just about making a bunch of pins. For Adam Smith, this principle was the fundamental engine of all economic progress. It's this incredible efficiency that creates the surplus, which generates wealth for everyone, for the whole society. It's literally the foundation of the modern world.
See, for Smith, the end goal was what he called a universal opulence. Basically, a society so wealthy that even the poorest people were better off. He argued that, hey, the people who clothe and feed and house everyone else, they deserve to be well-clothed and fed and housed too. And the division of labor, that was the machine to make it all possible.
But, and you have to know this, Smith himself saw a huge downside, a real danger. Later in the same book, he warned that if a person spends their entire life doing just a few simple things over and over, they become, and this is a direct quote, as stupid and ignorant as it is possible for a human creature to become. He worried it would lead to a torpor of the mind. He knew there was a very real human cost to this kind of hyper-specialization.
And that leaves us with this huge question, one that we're honestly still wrestling with today. Specialization absolutely created the modern world and all its wealth, but what's the price we pay for it in terms of, the individual? If you found this research valuable, please like the video, subscribe to MoniLytics, and check out the affiliate links in the description to support the channel. And stay tuned for our next deep dive, where we'll be shifting our focus to the propensity to truck, barter, and exchange.